All right, guys, we're going to rock and roll on the show here. Live on the group there, J-Dubs.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I didn't know, because you didn't mention it.
I said mics are going hot.
Okay. We're going to rock and roll on the show here. Judah, what headline most intrigued you and why?
I think the discussion about local crime and how we deal with it is a good one.
Do you think Jason Miyares was right to call out Joe Plantania?
I mean, it's his right to do so. Whether he's right or wrong, I think he certainly has some valid points.
Attorney General candidate Jason Miyares calls out Commonwealth's attorney in Charlottesville, Joe Plantania, on being soft on crime while on the campaign trail. We'll talk about that on today's show. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast, including some folks in the community angry that the AstraZeneca news was not presented in advance to taxpayers to prepare for what is going to be a pretty significant impact on quality of life, real estate, and cost of living in Albemarle County. We'll talk about that on today's show. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is moving to Seminole Square Shopping Center. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu will be in a shopping center that now has 3 omni-experiential businesses that are in operation. CVille Smash, a fantastic pickleball facility. Coco's Adventure Central, which will open later in 2026, early 2026. And now Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. We'll talk about that today. I'll start with the little NC State UVA football chatter. A lot on the last show of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Judah Wickower, we are live on YouTube, and I will confirm LinkedIn as we get ready to rock and roll here on the show. We are live on LinkedIn. We can start the program when you're ready.
Quiet on the set.
Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. A Friday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. A lot to cover on the show. I don't know if you caught college football last night, but the NC State Wolfpack beat the East Carolina Pirates in Thursday night action in Raleigh. The reason I bring up East Carolina and NC State, the Wolfpack of NC State, UVA's opponent in week 2. That game in Raleigh. I was watching the game last night to get a feel for NC State and how they could match up with UVA, and it's clear the Wolfpack have talent on their roster. So Virginia football fans with Coastal Carolina in town now, kickoff tomorrow 6 p.m., Scott Stadium, game broadcasted on the ACC network. This is the first game of Tony Elliott's 4th season in Charlottesville. Your week 2 matchup against NC State, the Wolfpack look decent. I'm not saying they're world beaters, but they beat up an East Carolina football team 24-17. That is not bad. That is not bad. One more item out of the notebook for the Virginia matchup. Coastal Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, has a air raid, spread them out attack. So they're going to do their darndest to move the ball quickly, spread the ball all over the field, in particular from a passing standpoint, and do their best to keep Virginia on their heels. The Wahoos are a 12.5-point favorite, the over-under at 57.5, depending on where you shop. 6 o'clock kick, Coastal Carolina. Another item out of the notebook, one of the viewers and listeners from Eastern Shore, Cliff Daisy, sent me an email. I found it, I've been giving it some thought. and I'll read his email or paraphrase his email to you, the viewer and listener. And we've been talking for some time about the cost of tickets, in particular for basketball, and how the University of Virginia was going to be able to find someone that was going to afford basketball tickets at the John Paul Jones Arena, especially in the next couple years when they're going to roll out a new licensing agreement. Basically, if you want seats about 2 years from now, I think it starts in 2027, if you want seats, season tickets at the John Paul Jones Arena, you're going to pay a seat licensing fee. And that seat licensing fee, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a six-figure plus payment to UVA. It's crazy to say this. If you're going to want season tickets in 2 years for John Paul Jones Arena basketball games to see Ryan Odom and Virginia basketball play, you're going to be giving Virginia basketball and the Virginia Athletic Department hundreds of thousands of dollars for those seats. You and I have been asking all along, how are they going to roll out this seat licensing plan where they're asking for so much money from us? Who can afford this? Especially with the basketball product kind of being down of late. Won a national championship in 2019, but since that national championship, the team has been mediocre to slightly above mediocre. That's fair to say. Ray, not Cliff, I called him Cliff Daisy. Ray Daisy of Eastern Shore said, "I watched your show, Jerry." He thought the conversation with Judah and I on yesterday's program was interesting, especially the discussion about the economic impact of AstraZeneca and Eli Lilly, two publicly traded companies. Information leaked in the middle of the week. They haven't even made the announcement that AstraZeneca and Eli Lilly would be investing billions of dollars, billions with a B, into plants, headquarters being built in Albemarle County and Goochland County, respectively. More on that in a little bit, including some Albemarle County residents angry with the Board of Supervisors that this announcement wasn't made well in advance so taxpayers could prepare. But Mr. Daisy of the Eastern Shore said, now we may know where these six-figure basketball tickets, who's going to buy them? If you got these publicly traded companies that are setting up headquarters and plants in this area, then you got a buyer base for these six-figure tickets at the John Paul Jones Arena in a couple years when the headquarters are up and running. He may be right. I found the email fascinating, his content fascinating. I relayed it to you, the viewer and listener. I will say this, that having a fan base of season ticket holders that are new to the area and are buying tickets to be seen or buying tickets because they like basketball but are not necessarily diehard UVA fans. And a diehard UVA fan is one that has struggled with the team through the Pete Gillen era, the Dave Lato era, struggled with the team with the early Tony Bennett era, the end of the Jeff Jones era. That's a diehard basketball fan. You want butts and seats at the John Paul Jones Arena with people like you and me that have been fans of this program for decades, that have struggled through the thick and thin with the program. You don't just want fannies and seats that are new to the area, nomadic, carpetbaggers, six-figure salaries that are buying tickets to be seen courtside from a vanity or ego standpoint or just because they like basketball. But he makes the point from the Eastern Shore that here's perhaps the buyer of those tickets when those season tickets roll out and the University of Virginia asks for six figures if you want to support this Virginia basketball team. We have a lot we're going to cover on the program. We have some folks in this community that are furious right now that they were not prepped with the AstraZeneca news. I don't necessarily understand the fury. I'm going to ask Judah, who's the yin to my yang, to help put it in perspective, why Albemarle Countyans are so angry right now that this AstraZeneca news was leaked about a multi-billion-dollar headquarters in Rivanna Future, Rivanna Station, north of town. From my standpoint, I think it's a great move. Revenue that the county can call incremental, that's not tied to our personal property, not tied to our homes. And an entity in AstraZeneca that's going to create jobs, professional mobility, and verticality potentially. A lot we're going to cover on the show, ladies and gentlemen, including Gracie Jiu-Jitsu announcing a move to Seminole Square. Tip of the cap to Conan Owen, Judah. of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. He owns Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, Conan Owen. He's an all-around good dude, Conan Owen. Smart guy, great head for business, Conan Owen. His company, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, is locally owned and operated. And if you have a logo, a business logo, and you need visibility for it with signage or stickers or decals, passes, lanyards, direct mail, this banner behind me is Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Anything for visibility with your logo, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, is who you call. And you ask for Conan Owen, the owner, a Darden School graduate. Tip of the cap to Conan, who put on my radar that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is moving to Seminole Square right next to Colleen Shear's CVille Smash pickleball concept. So in the last year on the I Love CVille network, a lot of this news is broken here. You've seen Seminole Square evolve from an empty shopping center with vacant retail stores to an omni-experiential headquarters. Conan Owen has dubbed it not Seminole Square, but Sweaty Square. With CVille Smash, the pickleball facility, playing a sport, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, martial arts, and Dr. Halpern, who broke the news on this network about Coco's Adventure Central, which is going to open in the first quarter of next year, an indoor adventure park for kids. Trampoline park, obstacle courses, indoor adventure park. Seminole Square, job well done, evolving a shopping center that was an afterthought and becoming second-rate, if not dinosaur-esque, into a shopping center that is about experiences and doing things in person that cannot be cannibalized by the internet. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Seminole Square Shopping Center next to CVille Smash, a pickleball concept next to Dr. Halpern's Coco Adventure Central. A lot we're going to cover in the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, including housing data from Real Talk with Keith Smith that will shock you. Ladies and gentlemen, this calendar year, 2025, from January 1 until August 29th, so year to date, Albemarle County only, consider this volume or this output. In 2025, there's only been 611 sales for new and existing detached units. 611 homes sold, new construction and an existing. Detached only. 611 homes sold in 2025 year to date. In 2019, the year before COVID, there were 832 units. That's like a 27% decline from 2019. The benchmark year, you discount COVID and that buyer bonanza. 2025, 611 units sold. 2017, 797 units sold, 798 in 2016, 734 in 2015. So ladies and gentlemen, coming out of a housing recession in 2015, you had 734 units sold year to date, January 1 to August 29th. 2025 is 123 units behind the 2025 output at this point of the calendar year. To say the real estate market right now is quicksand is an understatement. I had one owner broker whose name is on the marquee of the brokerage tell me this week that there is so much uncertainty surrounding buyers and sellers right now that they are all on the sidelines waiting for clarity. And much of that uncertainty is tied to this interest rate environment where God knows what is going to happen, what cuts are going to materialize, and who's going to win the Trump-Powell brouhaha. We know something's happened in September, or at least the odds suggest a cut in September. How many more at the end of this year? How many early next year? And what does that do to buyer demand and seller demand? We'll talk about that on today's program. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast, including an attorney general candidate, Jason Miyares, who's straight up using aggressive rhetoric against the Commonwealth's attorney of Charlottesville, Joe Plantania. Calling Joe Plantania out for being soft on crime. Literally calling him out. Like, those are fighting words. To the point where the Commonwealth's attorney issued a statement in rebuttal to Jason Miyares, who's running for re-election. A lot we're going to cover on the show. We remind you, the viewers and listeners, that Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Fry will launch a new show on the I Love CVille network on Monday at 10:15. Dr. Wayne Fry is the senior pastor at Faith Christian Center International on Pantops. Jeff Gaffney, a man of faith, the CEO of Real Estate 3, the all-time point-scoring leader for the UVA soccer team, a new show that will air Mondays on the I Love CVille network at 10:15 a.m. Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Fry. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. Judah Wickower, another really good one is John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. The Vermillion family are 5 generations strong in Albemarle County. They own Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. You can find their business on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. They have a mechanic on site to fix your pool cleaning robots, and your vacuums. They have all the water testing you need to keep your swimming pools healthy and clean. And anything sanitary related, they got at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. These guys are A-plus human beings. Judah Wickower, studio camera and a 2-shot. The show works because Judah and I are completely opposite people. Does it cause friction from time to time in this office? Absolutely it does. When we are working on the same page, does it create output of talented proportions, some of the best in the region? Without question. It ain't easy working with someone all the time. But I'll tell you what, we've made it work for 16 years. And I value your opinion, my friend, and I'm going to ask you to start the show. Which headline most intrigues you and why? I mean, you got an attorney general calling out a Commonwealth's attorney. You got Seminole Square turning into Sweaty Square. You got folks angry about AstraZeneca and the announcement and the fact that they weren't given any heads up.
I think they're disturbed about the inconsistency that they see.
Is that where you want to start?
I don't care. And in terms of the Jason Yaris call out, I mean, he's got some facts to back up what he's saying. Whether you agree with him or not.
You want to put the facts in there?
I don't have them in front of me.
53. I'll call up the facts. It takes like 5 seconds to find them. You just have to go to CBS 19 and then look for the Jason Miyares article, which is on the homepage. And I found it right now. And Miyares is straight up, ladies and gentlemen, utilizing data to say that the Commonwealth's attorney in Charlottesville is being soft on crime. He says 53 Virginians were murdered by felons that should have been in prison.
Yeah.
Has a number. He says just in fiscal year 2023, 9,638 felons were released early out of Virginia prisons. 49.8% of them have already been rearrested in less than 2 years.
Yeah, and I believe he called Platania a more of a social worker than a prosecutor.
This is like fighting words. These are words that if you say on a playground in a school or on a basketball court at the Dell or some kind of park around Charlottesville, you'd have fisticuffs and 2 dudes going jaw to jaw, about to knock each other out. Platania issued a statement countering what Miyares said and standing up for his office. I know Joe Platania. Good guy, Joe Platania. Mm-hmm. Multiple terms, Joe Platania as the Commonwealth's attorney.
Yeah.
Joe Platania is not soft on gun crime. Joe Platania is willing to allow folks that, come before his office that are in court. He offers some grace and second chance, except for violent crime. He's not soft on gun crime. I think Miyares utilizes rhetoric to try to close a gap in an election that's going the wrong way for the Virginia GOP.
No doubt.
And one of the ways you could try to close the gap is appealing or leveraging fear to get voters to vote. Mm-hmm. I think there's sometimes with Commonwealth's attorney Jim Hingley and Commonwealth's attorney Joe Platania where you specifically, the show, and viewers and listeners have questioned why empathy and grace or leniency was offered. But I remind the viewers and listeners that Plantania and Hinchley were elected into office.
Yeah.
And in multiple cases, ran unopposed.
Mm-hmm. It's very much my argument in the AstraZeneca discussion.
Unopposed Jim Hinchley this year.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Hinchley beat, what was it, Robert Tracy to get into office. Plantania is beloved by voters. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of Commonwealth's attorney walking around Charlottesville, the downtown mall, and Market Street in suits and tennis shoes. He knows everybody. Mm-hmm. These are elected officials. Miyares is hesitant to offer that they won a seat. They weren't appointed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You want to go AstraZeneca? Lower thirds on screen. We'll have the conversations to start the program. Kid Ashley, James Watson, Betsy Nugent, Barbara Bosick, Aaron Moody, Georgia Gilmer watching the program, Janice Boyce Trevelyan, Bob Yarborough watching the program. There is chatter locally, ladies and gentlemen, that AstraZeneca and this multi-billion-dollar headquarters that was leaked. It wasn't even announced. It was leaked. Mm-hmm. That this announcement should have been made well in advance by Albemarle County Economic Development, the Board of Supervisors.
Yep.
And given taxpayers an opportunity to, air quotes, prepare for it, air quotes. There's two lower thirds tied to this one. We can rotate in and out. What do you make of this? Is it crying? Is it whining, Janet Bradley? Is it whining, William McChesney or Logan Wells Claylow? Or is it legitimate beef?
I think it's fairly legitimate. I think part of the disconnect is that we often see our elected officials putting millions of dollars into studies and how should we do this, or who should we hire to do this, and then we get a case like this where all of a sudden there's a leak about AstraZeneca about to spend $10 billion to bring an HQ to Albemarle County, and I think some people are just like, wait a minute, why is there that difference? Why sometimes are we spending 10 years and millions of dollars on studies to decide whether to do something, and then all of a sudden we have an enormous company and spend, and along with all the other things, the Biotech Institute, and I think some people are just wondering, why is there no planning surrounding this? Why is there no traffic study to see what AstraZeneca and the Biotech Institute and all of the other things that we talk about coming to Charlottesville, why and Albemarle County, why is there no study done on that? On the other side of it, as you mentioned,
give me the other side, please. Give me the other side. You and I are so different. That makes the show great. I appreciate your opinion.
I'm not saying any of these are my opinions. This is just how I see people reacting. The other side is that, as you mentioned before, the people making these decisions were elected by us. Whether you voted for them or not, they were elected, and they're supposed to be making decisions that you want, that you and I want. So it's hard to complain post action that the people that you elected are not doing the things that you want.
We've been talking about this for 2 days on the show. The I Love CVille show is the water cooler for content and conversation in Charlottesville and in Central Virginia. We've highlighted on this platform the impact that biotechnology will have, because we knew before Mr. Manning made this donation to fund the Biotech Institute that he was going to do it, and we were explained the impact that this would have.
explained? I mean, does that really involve full understanding of what it's bringing to our area?
Before the donation
Or
was
is it
made,
just a...
I was told that the donation was going to be made.
Yeah.
I was told who was going to make the donation. I was told that it was going to be 9 figures plus. And then I was told, here's the flip book of what's going to happen. School, and then publicly traded. First the school, build the school here, and then because of the talent and because of the research upside of the school, publicly traded companies would be pursued.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was told the next step after publicly traded would be a private ecosystem of companies will be birthed around Albemarle County and Charlottesville. We are now in what? Stage 3? Stage 1, our intel, which we pass along to you, 9-figure donation plus. We said that before it happened and materialized. Stage 2, school was going to be world class. The director of the biotech school is a former senior level vice president of AstraZeneca. And he is saying on the record, I'm going to turn this into the Silicon Valley of biotechnology in Charlottesville, Albemarle County. World class. Stage 3, the publicly traded companies have come. AstraZeneca and Eli Lilly. And stage 4, which is going to be the more impactful one, would be the private ecosystem that's built around it. The Richmond Times-Dispatch 3 days ago, citing anonymous sources, highlighted that AstraZeneca had targeted Albemarle County because of the Biotech Institute. Mm-hmm. Glenn Youngkin, in July of this year, the governor, announced that AstraZeneca was going to build its single largest manufacturing plant in its entire arsenal. It would be the largest single manufacturing investment in the world, and it was going to be done in Virginia. And AstraZeneca has picked Albemarle County.
Yeah.
AstraZeneca plans to invest $50 billion in the United States by the year 2030. $50 billion.
Okay.
Albemarle County is their go-to spot for much of that $50 billion. Now we have the head of the Biotech Institute that was lured away from AstraZeneca to run the Biotech Institute at UVA, and now his former employer is opening up a headquarters here. Furthermore, in 2024, the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, this was when Donna Price was on the board, Jim Andrews, Ned Galloway, Ann Malik, and Diantha McKeel, they announced, actually this was in May of 2023, they announced their intention to purchase 462 acres of land located on Boulders Road off Route 29 in northern Albemarle. Rivanna Station, Rivanna Futures. This is turning into a headquarters not just for the Defense Intelligence Agencies, the National Ground Intelligence Center, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, but it's going to be a headquarters for other operations. And folks are now on social media, Reddit, for example, whining that they did not have a heads up about this AstraZeneca announcement. A heads up to allow them to prepare for cost of living. If they work for the defense sector, their wages will not be able to compete with AstraZeneca's wages. They did not have a heads up to lobby or politic elected officials about roads and traffic studies and quality of life impact, wage impact, school impact. And I'm of the mindset, and I even read what Jim Duncan wrote in that thread, one of the owners of Nest Realty, who responded and said, if local government made announcements of who they were pursuing before the deal was signed, they would look like fools because many of these deals don't materialize.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a great point. And then he emphasizes what we've been emphasizing on the show for a long time. We need incremental sources of tax revenue that alleviate the burden off personal property and real estate taxes. Here is one, and an incremental job source. Albemarle Countyans should be celebrating this. Do I understand the position that this is going to make the area more expensive? Yes. Do I understand the position that this is going to create a deeper buyer pool? Yes. I would highlight to viewers and listeners that are watching the program, if you're considering buying a home in Albemarle County across all price ranges, I would do it much sooner than later. Because when Northrop Grumman's 300 employees that are soon coming online in Waynesboro with this 100, 200, 300 million plus facility where the average wage is $94,000 a person in Waynesboro, these folks are going to live in Crozet and commute. When AstraZeneca, its facility is done, when Eli Lilly, its facility is done, when the Biotech Institute is done, we're going to have a lot more people here competing for the same houses. Buy now, don't wait.
Yeah.
I get that it's going to be more expensive, but I don't understand the crybaby or the whining.
Not even about infrastructure and whether we've made any plans, any, just planned at all for all of this, all that's coming to Charlottesville. Because I think that's part of the issue as well for some people.
I think that if you're north of town and you're Forest Lakes, Hollymead, Greene County, and you're having to commute in town, if you're north of Rio Road, that's going to be even more of a cluster duck. Even more torturous to drive and navigate.
I would imagine.
Because there's going to be more people and more employers.
Yeah.
Do I think the infrastructure is there to accommodate the people? No. But at least it's being compartmentalized to one area. Do I understand the traffic concerns? Absolutely. Do we probably need a high school built in the northern Albemarle County area? Probably so. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. Because they're more focused on reconfiguring.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just leads into the thread of the social complaints. The whining just goes into the channel of, it's just going to be an area of just the wealthy that can live here.
We've talked about that quite a bit.
For so long, since before COVID. It's not going to get better. It is what it is. Right?
That's one way of putting it.
None of the affordable housing stuff has been working. None of this rent stabilization has been working.
Mm-hmm.
How about these stats from Albemarle County? You ready for this? I learned this on Real Talk with Keith Smith. Put the lower thirds on screen. In 2015, from January 1 until August 29th, that's today's date. I'm going to use the calendar year 2015. Keith used the Paragon, the data tool, the data management tool that the realtors use locally. It's called Paragon. In 2015, from January 1 until August 29th, there were 734 units sold in 2015 that were new construction or existing construction, detached product only. 734 units. The median value on those 734 units was $387,000. In 2025, same housing stock, new construction and detached existing construction, from January 1 until August 29th, there were only 611 units sold. So coming out of a housing crash, 2015, there were 734. Now, 2025, coming out of a COVID boom and a buyer bonanza, there were 611. But listen to this. The median values jumped from 2015 of $387,000 to $740,000. It's 2x.
Yeah.
The price is 2x.
It's insane.
For the last 5 years, certainly since the onset of COVID, every politician in this community is run on some kind of BS platform of affordable housing. Every politician is run on BS platform of affordable housing. From 2015 to 2025, the median values in Albemarle County have gone from $387,000 to $740,000. In that same period of time, we've been talking about expanding the development area in Albemarle County. Right now, it's restricted to 5% of Albemarle County is designated for development, 5%.
Yeah.
And of that 5%, the topography doesn't even allow the development to happen in all 5% of it.
Right.
That area of development, that 5%, has not been expanded. Has not been expanded.
But you're against them expanding it, aren't you?
I'm totally against it. I'm just calling out the BS nature of politicians.
Yeah.
In the last year and a half, there's been politicking about allowing commercial real estate to be quickly pivoted into residential real estate. Office to apartment conversions, office to condo conversions. That hasn't happened despite people talking about it. City of Charlottesville, we got this zoning ordinance. Nothing has materialized on this zoning ordinance, and we have spent damn near close to a decade on it. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
All these people talk out of one mouth, one side of their mouth, and either through an inability to execute, through not being able to see the forest through the trees, or maybe because they're not really interested in doing it, the other side of the mouth actually does or orders something else to happen. So, what do you think, viewers and listeners, is going to happen to rents when AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, and biotechnology and all these private businesses that I'm told are going to happen? What do you think that's going to happen to rents and landlords that own rental property? It's just going to make them wealthier. What do you think it's going to do to the demand for office space? It's just going to create more demand. Comments coming in quickly. Friend of the program, James Watson, watching the show. I'm going to get to his comments first. Love James Watson. Smart guy, UVA grad. Very intelligent guy. James Watson on my Facebook page. Did you say the biotech AstraZeneca is going to go into the Rivanna Station area? I know the Regional Chamber of Commerce has been talking for years about bringing more science and technology jobs up there, particularly in the UVA North Point area. That vision has been marketed for a while. James, I'll answer your question this way. We know the Paul Manning Biotech Institute is going to be on Fontaine Avenue. It's being built now. I think Fry Springs is going to hugely uptick in value. I think Ivy is going to hugely uptick in value. I think Crozet is going to hugely uptick in value. I don't know for absolute certainty the location of AstraZeneca. My anticipation is AstraZeneca will be in that Rivanna Station, Rivanna Futures area. Because I think AstraZeneca was lured here with its billions of dollars with some kind of incentivized plan or program with Albemarle County. And we know that Albemarle County is a property owner of a huge chunk of land, and that's 462 acres north of Albemarle County. So my 1 and 1 equals 2 is that it's going to happen there, but I don't know for absolute certain. But that's what my crystal ball says. I think Greene County is going to be hugely impacted by this. Big time demand because of proximity. Barbersville, hugely impacted by this. Yep. Forest Lakes, Holly Mead, hugely impacted by this because of demand. He says there may be a need for an additional high school north of town. There's a need for an additional high school in northern Albemarle County right now. Imagine what happens in northern Albemarle County, ladies and gentlemen, when Rivanna Station, Rivanna Futures are fully developed, and when AstraZeneca and all these other biotech schools come here, biotech businesses in operation. Vanessa Parkhill, the Queen of Earlysville, watching the program. I think Vanessa Parkhill, Earlysville is going to have tremendous uptick in value. The fact that there are people upset about new business coming to the area blows my mind, and I live on the north side of town. She says, how do we leverage these new tech businesses to support public STEM-focused high school, preferably in Albemarle's urban ring? Thomas Leroy watching the broadcast. Bill McChesney, Logan Wells Claylow, print, radio, and television. Vanessa Parkhill, AstraZeneca could probably locate in UVA's North Fork Business Park. I think there's plenty of space available. Conan Owen says, it makes sense for AstraZeneca to be in that Rivanna Station, Rivanna Future, because you need airport access for all the execs and the sales representatives. But the county needs to find other areas. South of 64 on Route 29, far west, Yancey'sville would make a great industrial office site. Need to work on creating jobs closer to where people live. Conan Owen, the owner of Sir Speedy Central Virginia, a business development wizard. If you need help with any logo visibility, you call Conan Owen in Sir Speedy Central Virginia. People can't say this, okay, before we get off this topic. People cannot say this. My real estate taxes are too expensive. How dare you raise the real estate tax rate 4 cents? And then say this, I don't want AstraZeneca coming here. It's
Right.
bad for Albemarle County. That's hypocrisy. Can't say both. You could say real estate taxes are too expensive. How dare you raise it 4 cents when our median values from 2015 to 2025 upticked in Albemarle County from 387,000 to 740,000.
Yeah.
How dare you raise our real estate tax rate when you're collecting way more tax revenue on values alone, assessments alone?
Mm-hmm.
But you can never follow it up with, we don't want more job growth. We don't want more incremental business. We don't want publicly traded companies investing billions of dollars in our county. Because they contradict each other.
Yeah.
If you're print, radio, or television, what you should be covering, Sean Tubbs, what you should be covering, Neil Williamson, what you should be covering, Charlottesville tomorrow, what you should be covering, is you should be covering the location of where AstraZeneca is going to build their plant, and you should FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request. Heck, first request it, then FOIA it. All the correspondence between the Office of Economic Development of Albemarle County and anything tied to AstraZeneca to see how long that this has been percolating. Get that information, because Albemarle Countyans deserve to know that. Emily Kilroy is a fantastic economic development head. Give her props. Let's give her her flowers for this AstraZeneca announcement. Although it probably was before Kilroy was head of economic development. I believe at one time Kilroy was the communications director, if memory serves correctly, of Albemarle County, and then got promoted to economic development head. In fact, I can verify this by checking out Emily's LinkedIn. I'll load it right now. We'll give her her flowers on the show. Albemarle County is going to need a northern high school. If you think traffic is snarled right now in Hollymead and Forest Lakes, wait till you see what's going to happen.
And Crozet.
And Crozet. Wait till you see what's going to happen. And yeah, she was the Director of Communications and Public Engagement for Albemarle County from 2018 to 2022. Now she's the Economic Development Director of May 2024. This probably, in fact, she may get all the flowers for this. Director of Communication from 2018 to 2022, so she was in the room there. Even if she's Director of Communications and not Economic Director at the time. Still gets her flowers. Come back on the show, Emily. I know I asked you some very specific questions. Come back on the show, EK. Come on, EK. Come back on the show. Anything you want to add to this? And then I'll get to Carol Thorpe.
You can get to Carol Thorpe.
Carol Thorpe says, Jerry, calling back to part of my comment from yesterday, wouldn't it greatly benefit CVille if they would elect at least 1 or 2 people to city council with a modicum of business experience to work with these incoming companies and high-level schools? 100%, Carol Thorpe. Quinny Jack Jewett. 100%. 100%.
As we've both said, these are our elected officials. We elected them. If you're complaining about what they're doing, elect someone else.
Let me ask you this question, viewers and listeners. Is the city of Charlottesville being left behind and eating Albemarle County's dust and dirt? It's like that Camaro that peels out on a dusty road, and you're standing behind the Camaro, and as the V8 goes from 0 to 60 in 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and as they drop the clutch and hammer down, and you're sitting behind there just waving and coughing, go, is that Charlottesville City? Is Emily Kilroy doing laps around Chris Engel? What is the city of Charlottesville doing to keep up economic development-wise with Albemarle County? And how much is it the city's fault? Or how much is it a land constraint fault?
I was just thinking.
How could an AstraZeneca or an Eli
where would
Lilly
you put
even open in the city of Charlottesville?
Yeah.
Or how does the city create a strategy to ride the coattails of economic development in Albemarle County? How could it do that? If you're Sam Sanders and you're Chris Engel, you better be figuring that out immediately. John Blair's got a comment. Love John Blair, smart guy. He was in a room yesterday with some smart people, and he left this comment on the show that the AstraZeneca news immediately drives an additional 5% of value for Albemarle County homes. That 5% might be light, Judah.
Yeah.
John Blair says the bottom line is this. Inclusionary zoning has never worked in any community as advocates claim in terms of affordable housing. The 10% set aside distorts the market and discourages developers in the Jeff Levine type portfolio, 500 to 200 units. The only developers that can navigate inclusionary zoning are the big ones with projects of 400 or more. They get 400 units or more. They can make the 10% work due to a scale of units to absorb the profit loss. And then he adds, James Watson is correct. There is a massive need for a new Northern Albemarle High School. Love John Blair. Love James Watson. Love the viewers and listeners. Broke the news this week that Jeff Levine was selling 600 West Main, or he had listed it for sale.
Yeah.
Heard through the grapevine, and I was told not to mention anything about it, but I was allowed to mention one thing, that the Jeff Levine 600 West Main, the asking price would surprise us, and not surprise us from an expensive standpoint. Then was told to keep it in my cap for now, but I was allowed to mention that. This comes in from a very connected person who said he needs discretion. This is not deep throat. But this is somebody who is elected that is asking for discretion. I need you to keep this anonymous, Jerry. I think it's a good thing, AstraZeneca. I don't think affordable housing will ever be solved by the free market, but with the additional tax revenue from a business like this, we could use that for more infrastructure and to subsidize or build affordable housing. Also, part of affordable housing is whether there are higher paying jobs that allow people to more easily afford a home. If the median wage increases relative to cost of housing, then by definition, housing has become more affordable. I'd rather the cost of housing increase due to higher wages than from retired boomers and Nova residents outbidding everyone else.
Great points.
Not only retired boomers and Nova residents moving down here, but nomadic Zoomers and digital nomads choosing to call home base here.
Yeah.
A comment came in on Real Talk this morning from a really, really smart guy that I want to relay to you. His name is Rob Neal, super smart guy. He says the increase in cash sales in 2025, and ladies and gentlemen, in Albemarle County year to date, this according to the Paragon data that Keith Smith navigated during Real Talk this morning, of the 611 homes sold in Albemarle County, new construction, and existing housing, detached only, 611 homes year to date, 740,000 median value. 35% of those were cash deals. 35%.
Wow.
Rob said the increase in cash deals in 2025 is in step with drastic higher sales prices, and that points to AGI growth. And it's not the real number that is pushing things. It's balance sheets and wealth. He says the wealth of the area is far outpacing the reported income of the area. The biotech salaries will push the market AGI up, but not as much as the median balance sheet will be compared to pre-biotech boom. He says single-family detached homes will continue to rise due to wealth. Rental prices will increase due to income. AGI, adjusted gross income. He alludes the adjusted gross income locally is way higher than the $125,800, the median value family household income according to HUD.
Interesting. Could that be because of college students?
That's a good question.
I've heard rumblings lately that the census info doesn't do a good enough job of weeding out the UVA students, which heavily skew the numbers one way or the other.
Not only heavily skewed the numbers by the college students, but a lot of the lower tiered employees at the University of Virginia that don't make a ton of wage. Grad assistants, teaching assistants, they live year round and are counted part of the census. Cafeteria workers, the blue collar workers tied to UVA, impacting the census, impacting those numbers.
But if those people are actually living full time in the area, isn't that good and right that they're skewing the numbers?
Skewing the numbers down.
Yeah, but I mean, if they are full-time residents, shouldn't they be a part of the?
They should be a part
numbers?
of it. They should be a part of it. But his point is that
The numbers change.
yeah. I had somebody that was a mover and shaker correct me. Listen to this. This is a crazy stat here. Someone that would know this answer, I'm not going to reveal who this person is, but they work in the banking business. I've said on this program there's 5 billionaires that live in the Charlottesville area, billion with a B. He said, Jerry, I listened to the show, and when you said there were 5 billionaires living in the area, he said there's way more than that.
Wow.
So it's not close to 5. So way more than 5. Definitely double digits.
Wow.
And he started rattling them off by first and last name. Georgia Gilmer. Response to Vanessa Parkhill. Vanessa Parkhill, looking like that Western bypass might have been a good idea after all. Georgia Gilmer says, yep, I can barely get out of the driveway now on some mornings, and it's just going to get worse.
Man.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're in the market to buy a house, you buy a house in the next 12 months. Geez Louise, you better buy a house in like the next 8 months because it ain't going to get cheaper. And you're going to have a lot more buyer demand when those rates go down and this fallout from AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, Northrop Grumman, biotech, data science happens. Next headline, is that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu?
It is.
Conan Owen dubbed it Sweaty Square, not Seminole Square. Sweaty Square. You now have Gracie Jiu-Jitsu moving into Seminole Square. You have CVille Smash, the pickleball facility, about to open in Seminole Square.
Yep.
And Dr. Halpern, the entrepreneur, the medical doctor, that is opening Coco's Adventure Central, an indoor adventure park in Seminole Square. So Seminole Square goes from a sad, empty afterthought that was about to go the way of the dodo bird and the T-Rex.
It seemed like the forward-facing part of it was always doing okay.
Looked pretty empty to me.
I mean, you've got the new what is it, Seoul barbecue joint, Korean barbecue joint. You've got
I try not to go north of Barracks Road. I'd catch a lot of heat for that.
You've got the car wash. You've got the there's a whole bunch of stuff in that area around what is it, the center, kind of the center island there. Then you've got the Outback Crack House.
We're in agreement that Seminole Square was empty, a good portion of it, right?
Yeah, the whole back end was.
Okay. So the empty part is getting filled.
That's
and they're
good.
filling it with omni-experiential businesses.
Yep.
They're filling it with business models that cannot be commoditized or cannibalized by Walmart, Target, or Amazon, or the internet. You can't play pickleball on Amazon.
Right.
You can't do a trampoline park on Walmart.com. And you can't rear naked choke someone on the internet. You have
Thank
to do it in
goodness.
person. You have to do it in person. I don't want to know what you're rear naked choking on the internet.
I said, thank goodness you can't.
Sorry. But at Seminole Square, Sweaty Square, you can do all three, and they're all next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to open within a handful of months of each other.
Let the sweat fly.
And I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Next headline, what do you got, Judah Wicker?
Let's see. Jason Miyares. I think you're probably right about it. I think it's probably a political move to. We see it every election cycle. Create a problem, and explain how you're the solution.
Jason Miyares knows that the Albemarle GOP is desperate. The Virginia GOP is desperate.
Yeah.
And the Virginia GOP is desperate with its chances of winning in multiple races.
Yeah.
Winston Earl Sears, she's not going to beat Spanberger.
She's made up a lot of ground.
Jason Miyares, he's not going to win the Attorney General. John Reed, maybe the best shot of the three. Closest of the three races. My prediction will be Reed. Actually, I might hold off on that because Miyares is the incumbent, and there's a lot of value being the incumbent.
No doubt.
Right now, I would say all three are at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
That's why all three are sending emails to the show asking for the platform and time to speak. Miyares goes on record and tries to call out Joe Plantania.
Yeah.
Calls Joe Plantania soft on crime. And he tries to pin on Joe Plantania being soft on crime, leading to more violence. What Jason Miyares is doing is the oldest trick in the book. Stir up a bunch of bushes, shake the bushes, rattle the bushes, and see if you can get some copperhead snakes to show their faces. And if you shake those bushes and you rattle those bushes and you disturb those bushes and some copperheads slither out of the bushes, it's going to scare some people into doing things. And hopefully scaring some people into doing things is voting for him. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
The reality is Plantania was elected. He was elected again. How many times has Joe Plantania won? Isn't he in an election year right now? Joe Plantania, let's see. In 2021, he was seeking a second term. In 2021, according to CVille Tomorrow. All right, why don't I just go to CVillepedia? Joe is a likable guy.
Yeah.
He's tough on gun crime. He's tough on
we did
violent offenders.
We did have a discussion about this, what was it, a couple of years ago?
Prior to winning top prosecutor, Plantania served under former Commonwealth Attorney Dave Chapman. He joined the office in 2003. Plantania successfully prosecuted James Fields in 2019 for the murder of Heather Heyer. He's been the Commonwealth's attorney since 2018. This is what, his third term here. Hingley is in the middle of his second term. Mm-hmm. Beat Robert Tracy in the first term race. Ran unopposed in the second. What Miyares is doing with rattling the bushes to get some copperheads to show their heads, show their faces, to scare voters into doing something is the oldest trick in the book. Mm-hmm. That's all he's doing. Next headline, what do you got?
I think that's it.
That's the show?
I believe it is.
Monday at 10:15. Who do you got in the studio, Judah?
We've got a local star, Jeff Gaffney.
Jeff Gaffney, good guy.
And he is bringing with him another local star, Dr. Wayne Fry.
Phenomenal preacher. Jeff Gaffney, the all-time points leader with UVA soccer, who had a cup of coffee. Was it Jeff with in the NFL? Who did Jeff Gaffney play in the NFL with? A cup of coffee as a kicker. I should know that, Jeff. The San Diego Chargers. He's an American former professional football kicker who played for the San Diego Chargers of the National Football League. He played college soccer at UVA. The Wikipedia says college football. Did you kick for the UVA football team too, Jeff? I didn't know that. I know you're the all-time point scorer for UVA soccer. But did you kick on the football team too? William McChesney, did he kick on the football team? There's an article from 1985. Yeah, he kicked for the football team. For George Welsh. He kicked a 47-yard field goal. For George Welsh. Jeff Gaffney, talented guy. Wayne Fry, another talented guy. I heard Dr. Wayne Fry speak on a chapel morning at the Covenant School. And he was invigorating, inspiring, intelligent. He was captivating, cool, charismatic, conversational.
I'm looking forward to it. I get a front row seat.
Monday at 10:15 a.m., the Everyday Faith Show with Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Fry. That's the talk show. Judah Wickhauer, yours truly, Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us. So long.